Okay, so I'm making festive pool noodle candles, and I'm starting out with a white pool noodle and a ruler, and I'm trying to decide how long I want to make my first one. And I'm just using a utility knife that I found at Dollar Tree. And after cutting through this, I realized that it's easier just to use a big knife because the bottom ended up being a little uneven, and I had to go back and slice parts of the bottom again. I went ahead and cut my second one shorter, and then I used the first one to make my last one just a bit taller, so I had a nice trio. Then I used tea light candles that I also found at Dollar Tree to sit on top of the pool noodles, and I cut around them so that I would have a nice snug fit once everything was finished for them to sit down into. It took a few times of cutting around and pulling out the excess foam, but eventually I got it to the point where the tea light was a snug fit and it was pretty much flush with the top, so that the flame was the only part that really was sticking out of the top, so that it had a more realistic look to it. Then I used the utility knife to slice off some portions of the top to soften the look, to make it look more like a candle that had been burning for a while. I repeated the same steps with the other two pieces of foam, cutting away at the top to make it look more like a realistic candle. And then I wanted to move on to cutting out my tissue paper to fit the pieces of foam. And with my tissue paper cut, I wanted to move on to adding a generous amount of Mod Podge to the foam so that the tissue paper would really have a good hold. And I needed to make sure that I had the top edge of the candle at the top of the paper, so that once I started rolling, that I wouldn't have any kind of weird overlap or have any big gaps. So I just worked my way around, adding the Mod Podge, smoothing the paper out to get any bubbles, and just continued my way all the way around. And once the sides had been properly smoothed, I turned my attention to the bottom and I tucked in pieces into the bottom hole of the candle and added a bit of Mod Podge. With that one complete, I added paper to the remaining two with the same steps. And this is what all three look like with the paper completed. I wanted to add a bit of Mod Podge to not only seal the paper on, but to give it just a little bit of a luster. And this is how it looks with the Mod Podge completely dry. And now it's time to add my faux wax strips, and I'm just using a not a high temp, just a regular hot glue gun. I believe I found this at AC Moore, and I just want to go around the top edge to give it a nice first layer of glue, and I'm just going to gradually add glue around layer by layer, and then add like globs on the side so that it gives a dripping effect to make it look like this candle has been burning for a while. And I was careful not to get too close to the tea light so that it would have been glued down into the foam, but close enough that it looked realistic and there was a nice layer around the inner portion. And once I was satisfied with the amount of glue I'd added, I did the same with the other two candles. And here is the finished product. All of the hot glue is dry. I'm very happy with this finished product. These look so nice. Very happy with all of the glue drips and doing the big globs and just letting it run down was really, I think, the best method. And I just started out just, going around just to set up a base coat of just the glue and just kind of build it upon that, and then added more drips, and I love the way these candles turned out. I'm so excited and happy with the way these look that I grabbed some more of the tissue paper and I did some different patterns. I really like this birch tissue paper, so I thought these would make really nice candles, and these turned out beautifully as well. And in addition to making candles, just wrapping this birch tissue paper just around the pool noodles and Mod Podging it down. You can stick them in a bucket, by a fireplace in an entryway, just to make faux birch logs. I mean, that's a really good option versus hand painting and adding the little bits of the spackle to make the texture. These look very, very nice. Very happy with the way these turned out, and I just used the same method of the drips and Mod Podging it around, except I doubled the paper to make the color just a little bit deeper because it's so thin, and I'm very happy with the way the birch looks. This gorgeous tartan plaid, great holiday plaid. I had 2 of these glitter red tea lights, so that's why I made 2 of these. And luckily I had some colorful hot glue sticks so that I could do the drips to match with the tea light. These are just great. I love these. I think this is my favorite, the tartan. And this gingham one I made as well. This one was the most difficult because of the paper I used. I used these napkins I found at Dollar Tree, and because the pattern is at an angle, I had to turn them sideways and snip to get them straight up and down. But it's really a nice look for the holidays, and I plan to make a few more of these so that I have a trio. These are just great.